the origin of the strongest, now shaping itself into what became the worst nightmare of the strongest scions. Goku and Vegeta found themselves in a tight spot after the humiliation suffered at the hands of this warrior. If before the motivation was merely revenge against the scions, in a way, he molded himself with the golden form. There was his revenge and his plans. But now, in his current form, the Black Frieza form, his thoughts go beyond, reaching the black vastness of what the universe represents. How exactly did Frieza achieve this power? What did he see that we don't yet know? Actually, I do know, and I'll share it with you. Ready? Then subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and turn on the notification bell. The origin of the strongest, like a seed planted in the soil of hatred, began as something simple: revenge. Frieza wanted revenge on the scions, those who dared to challenge him, humiliate him, bring him down. Goku was the first to break his pride, back on Namekusei, when he transformed into a Super Saiyan right before his eyes and defeated him. Since then, a silent fury began to burn within Frieza. It wasn't just rage, it was thirst. Thirst for power, for control, for rewriting the universe under his own rules. When he was revived by his loyal soldiers, he wasted no time. In just 4 months of training, he shaped the golden form. It was more than a new power. It was the materialization of his revenge. It was like saying to the entire universe, "I'm back stronger, shinier, and ready to crush the heroes." The golden Frieza form was his answer to the scions, his way of proving he could reach his greatest rivals, even without decades of battles. But it was also a reflection of his impulsiveness. He mastered it too quickly, used it arrogantly, and was punished for it. Goku and Vegeta, more balanced, showed that having strength wasn't enough. You needed to control that strength, dominate the battlefield, understand the flow of combat. And so once again, Frieza fell. But he learned, silently, away from everyone's eyes. He absorbed those defeats as lessons. The Frieza, who walked away defeated, there was not the same one who would return later. Deep down, he knew his revenge against the scions wouldn't be enough. He needed something greater, something that would make him not just superior, but unreachable. It was in the tournament of power that this change began to sprout. Fighting alongside Goku, watching warriors from distant universes, understanding that there were levels of power and existence that even he did not comprehend, Frieza awakened to something new. He realized the universe was bigger than his own arrogance, and that if he truly wanted to reign over everything, he'd need to go beyond his old worldview. Defeating the scions was no longer enough. He'd have to surpass the limits of the multiverse itself, and that changed his mindset forever. The transformation into Black Frieza didn't come from a simple obsession with power. It came from silence, from study, from coldness. He isolated himself, possibly in an alternative room of spirit and time, maybe with help from beings we don't even know yet. He wasn't seeking revenge anymore. He sought transcendence, and that's what he achieved. When he returned with this new form, he was no longer the same tyrant shouting orders or blowing up planets out of boredom. Now, he moved like a specter, with dark and calm eyes, no rush, no noise. His presence was a sentence, and his blows, inescapable. The black aura of his new form reflected not just his power, but his vision. The energy was no longer luminous like in the golden form, but dense, silent, almost suffocating. It represented the void between galaxies, the darkness between gods. Frieza himself had understood that while the scions were driven by emotion and the instinct to surpass, he could be guided by the opposite. Total control. No emotion, no wounded pride, just rational ambition. And that made him even more dangerous. Goku and Vegeta, even with Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego, were caught off guard. They had evolved a lot since the Tournament of Power, but they still thought like warriors. Frieza now thinks like an entity. He doesn't enter combat just to win. He shows up at the right moment to alter the course of the universe. Gas, who was the strongest until then, was defeated with a single blow, and neither Goku nor Vegeta could do anything. It was as if they had stopped in time, and Frieza had taken the next step. The nightmare is now real. The enemy, who was once driven by revenge, has become something greater. Now he moves for existential conquest. The black form is more than just power. It's the result of a new philosophy, a new way of existing. The Frieza, who hated the scions, has become the Frieza who wants to erase the very concept of rivalry. He doesn't want to rule over a race. He wants to rule over the very meaning of strength in the multiverse. And maybe, just maybe, the warriors of Universe 7 aren't ready to face someone like that. The universe of Dragon Ball has always been marked by plot twists, by moments when the impossible becomes real, and by enemies who return stronger and more unpredictable than ever. But never in the entire history of the series has a villain caused such impact in so little time as Frieza in his black form. When he appeared suddenly at the height of the battle between Goku, Vegeta, and Gas, the most feared enemy of the Granola arc, fans all over the world were in shock. Frieza, who had been surpassed by everyone for years, returned not only stronger, but with a power that seemed unreachable. With a dark, refined, and absolutely lethal aura, the inevitable question dropped like a bomb. How did Frieza achieve that? What is the origin of his black power? Did he really train alone, or did he ally with someone? Perhaps his brother Cooler, or even a mysterious warrior of his own race. To understand the depth of this transformation, you have to go back in time and revisit Frieza's evolution. From his days as an intergalactic tyrant to his death at the hands of Goku on Namekusei, and his return as an increasingly unpredictable threat. When Frieza was resurrected by his loyal soldiers in the Resurrection F saga, his thirst for revenge was so great that he didn't even bother reflecting on his past mistakes. Trusting too much in his brute force and arrogance, he simply decided to train for 4 months, a never-before-seen feat, since until then he had never trained in his entire life. It was in this short period that he achieved his golden transformation, the famous Golden Frieza, which shocked everyone with its energy intensity and destructive beauty. He could barely control that new power, yet still managed to fight on par with Goku's Super Saiyan Blue. However, his arrogance was again his weak point. Frieza didn't know how to handle the stamina required by the golden form. And because of that, even though he had cornered Goku and Vegeta, he was defeated once again due to his own pride. That made him realize that strength alone wasn't enough. During the Tournament of Power, summoned by Zeno-sama and the gods to gather the most powerful warriors from all universes, Frieza had a unique chance to learn from the multiverse's greatest fighters. Although he was initially recruited as a desperate wild card for Universe 7, he surprised everyone with his cunning, his composure in battle, and most of all, his new strategic mindset. There, he understood the value of discipline, planning, and large-scale manipulation. At the end of the tournament, he was resurrected as a reward for his performance, and from that moment on, something inside Frieza had changed. However, his ambition never disappeared. It just became more silent, more refined, more dangerous. While Goku and Vegeta were busy with other threats, like Moro and Granola, Frieza remained in the shadows, observing, learning, and more importantly, training. But where exactly could someone like him evolve to the point of humiliating Goku, Vegeta, and Gas, all at the same time? The answer came to light the moment Frieza revealed his new form. He had trained in a parallel dimension, a place known only by legends and whispers, the hyperbolic time chamber. But it wasn't the traditional hyperbolic time chamber from Kami's Lookout, which had already been used so many times by Goku and the others. Frieza, using his galactic influence, discovered a similar facility on another planet, possibly linked to the Namekians or an ancient warrior civilization that mastered the laws of time and space. This version of the time chamber allowed time to pass even more intensely. 1 day outside, 10 years inside. Frieza trained for at least 10 years in that place. Maybe even more. Alone? Maybe. But there are indications that he wasn't completely solitary. Intergalactic rumors suggest that he might have had help from another member of his race, a being as cold and calculating as himself. Many point to his brother, Cooler, as a possible ally in this process. Cooler, who never appeared in the official canon of the series, but was always considered a fearsome warrior in the alternate movies, could have joined Frieza, not as a loyal ally, but as a rival who would force him to surpass his limits. Or maybe it was a special soldier, trained since childhood to serve as a permanent opponent for Frieza, just like Jinyu once was, but with power far beyond the average. Either way, reports suggest that Frieza faced simulated or real opponents that forced him to adapt to extreme new combat conditions. During this intense and prolonged training, Frieza didn't just seek to improve his brute strength. He studied the workings of vital energy, ki manipulation, and body endurance. He learned to turn his anger and thirst for power into absolute focus. He was no longer the impulsive Frieza who destroyed Planet Vegeta. Now, he was cold, calculating, almost zen in his posture. His ki no longer vibrated explosively. He kept it sealed until he needed to crush his enemy. The black transformation wasn't just an aesthetic evolution. It was the physical representation of his internal reformulation. Upon leaving that alternative time chamber, Frieza had become something different. A being whose energy felt compact, dense, impenetrable. When he appeared before Goku, Vegeta, and Gas, the shock was immediate. Goku and Vegeta were already at the limit of their strength after the intense battle against Gas, each using their final powers. Goku with Ultra Instinct and Vegeta with Ultra Ego, both exhausted, injured, almost out of energy. Gas, who until then was the most powerful warrior in the universe according to the serial Dragon Balls, was also in critical condition. And then Frieza appeared. With a calm smile, a neutral gaze, and a tone of disdain, he not only defeated Gas with a single blow, but also left Goku and Vegeta paralyzed in front of his new aura. They immediately felt that they couldn't do anything. And this, more than anything, scared the fans and shook the pride of the heroes. Frieza was no longer playing the same game. He had created his own rules. His appearance in the black form was sinister. His body now coated in an intense black color, with violet streaks that seemed to pulse energy with every movement. His voice, even deeper, conveyed unshakable confidence. And most impressive was his tranquility. There were no screams, no desperate attacks. Every movement was precise, surgical. Frieza, at that moment, didn't just want to win. He wanted to show that while others fought among themselves, he had surpassed them all in silence. This new phase of Frieza also reflects a philosophical evolution. He understood that power, without control, leads to self-destruction, something he had already learned the hard way on Namekusei when he trusted too much in his own superiority. But now he knew that true mastery came from patience, strategy, and inner cultivation. And this was evident not only in his strength, but in his actions. After eliminating Gas and humiliating the two Scions, he didn't kill them. He spared them, for now, not out of compassion, but calculation. He knew that keeping them alive would serve a future purpose, perhaps even psychological, since keeping Goku and Vegeta alive to witness his complete ascension is a form of even greater domination. This is the mindset of Black Frieza, a tyrant who no longer depends on rage or impulsiveness. Now he has become the supreme warrior who walks among the shadows, waiting for the right moment to claim the throne of the universe. And his transformation is not just a new color or a power increase. It is the full manifestation of his personal journey. Just as Goku achieved Ultra Instinct not through strength, but through absolute calm, and Vegeta obtained Ultra Ego through pride and sacrifice, Frieza reached the black state through coldness and intelligence. 3 paths, 3 philosophies, 3 extremes. The impact of this transformation will be felt for a long time, and the questions it left still reverberate. If Frieza achieved this power through intense training, what will happen if he continues evolving? Are there more forms beyond black? Could Cooler or another being from Frieza's race also emerge with similar power? And most concerning, are Goku and Vegeta, in their current forms, truly capable of stopping him? Or will they need something beyond what they know? Perhaps not even Ultra Instinct or Ultra Ego will be enough against this new type of enemy. Maybe, in the end, Frieza has become the true god of chaos he always wanted to be. And more. Are Whis and the gods of destruction aware of this growing threat? Or has Frieza already surpassed even the limits of divine surveillance? In a universe where everything can change in a matter of seconds, Black Frieza is now the greatest unknown, a being who has evolved beyond arrogance, who embraced silence, planning, and sacrifice, a being who, perhaps, is on the brink of becoming the next true emperor of the universe.